Hello, and welcome to English Podcast with Larry and Mark, the place where you improve your English through simple, natural, and meaningful conversations. I'm Larry.
And I'm Mark. Hello, everyone. Today, we're learning how to talk naturally about a peaceful day in English.
You'll also learn useful vocabulary and everyday expressions for describing quiet moments, relaxation, stress, gratitude, and emotional well-being.
So relax, listen carefully, and enjoy today's conversation.
Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that the world can no longer reach you. No emails, no messages, no urgent calls. At first, the silence feels uncomfortable. But before the day ends, that silence helps you hear something you've been ignoring for years: your own life. Sometimes, the most peaceful day begins when everything stops working.
Larry, that sounds like more than an ordinary relaxing day.
It was. This happened to a young man named Daniel. Daniel worked as a project manager for a technology company. His phone rang from morning until night. He answered emails during breakfast, joined meetings during lunch, and checked work messages before going to sleep.
So even when he wasn't in the office, he was mentally still working.
Exactly. Daniel often said, "I'm busy now, but things will become calmer next month." However, next month always brought another project, another deadline, and another reason to postpone his life. Daniel's younger sister, Anna, frequently invited him to visit their father, who lived alone in a small town near the coast. Daniel always gave the same answer: "I'll come when work becomes less busy." One Friday evening, Anna called again. She said, "Dad asks about you every week. He doesn't need anything expensive. He just wants to spend one day with you."
That must have made Daniel feel guilty.
It did, but he pushed the feeling away. He promised to visit on Sunday. Then, on Saturday night, his manager sent him several messages about a problem at work. Daniel stayed awake until almost 2 a.m. trying to solve it.
Did he cancel the visit?
He almost did. On Sunday morning, he picked up his phone to message Anna, but the screen remained black. He tried charging it, restarting it, and pressing every button. Nothing happened. His internet connection had also stopped working because of a local service problem. Daniel sat on the edge of his bed, feeling anxious.
That's interesting. A quiet morning had arrived, but he couldn't enjoy it.
Exactly. His body was at home, but his mind was still racing. There's a useful expression here: switch off. To switch off can mean turning off a device, but it can also mean stopping yourself from thinking about work or problems. Daniel's phone had switched off, but his mind had not. He considered driving to the office. Then he noticed a small envelope beside his keys. Anna had delivered it earlier that week. Inside was an old photograph of Daniel sitting on his father's shoulders at the beach. On the back, his father had written, "Some days become memories before we understand how important they are."
That line must have reached him.
It did. Daniel looked at the broken phone, picked up his car keys, and began driving toward the coast. At first, the silence inside the car felt strange. He couldn't play music or check notifications. Then he lowered the window. For the first time in months, he noticed the sound of the wind and the morning light moving across the fields.
How can we describe that experience naturally?
Daniel could say the drive was quiet and relaxing, or I enjoyed the peaceful scenery. Scenery means the natural things you can see in an area, such as fields, hills, trees, or the ocean. When Daniel reached the town, his father was sitting outside a small cafe. The older man looked surprised. He stood up slowly and said, "I thought work would need you again." Daniel smiled. but the words hurt. He replied, "Today I needed to be here." They began their day with a simple breakfast. They ate warm bread, eggs, and fruit while watching fishing boats return to the harbor. Daniel's father told him stories about people in the town. He knew the baker's birthday, the cafe owner's favorite song, and the name of every neighbor's dog.
Daniel probably realized how different their lives had become.
Yes. Daniel knew hundreds of passwords, deadlines, and project numbers, but he couldn't remember the last time he had asked his father, "How are you really feeling?" So he finally asked. His father looked toward the water and said, "Most days, I'm fine, but the house becomes very quiet in the evening."
That's a simple sentence, but it carries a lot of emotion.
Exactly. His father wasn't angry. That made Daniel feel even worse. He had been so focused on building a successful future that he hadn't noticed who was becoming lonely in his present. Daniel said, "I'm sorry I kept postponing this." His father placed a hand on his shoulder. He replied, "You came today. Let's not spend the whole day regretting yesterday."
That's a powerful lesson.
It is. Peace doesn't always come from having no problems. Sometimes it comes from being fully present in the moment you still have. After breakfast, they walked along the beach. The sky was pale blue, and the waves moved gently across the sand. Daniel took a deep breath and felt his shoulders relax. There's another useful expression: take it easy. It means to relax and avoid working or worrying too much.
For example, Daniel decided to take it easy and enjoy the day.
Exactly. They collected small shells, watched children build sandcastles, and sat quietly near the water. There was no schedule and nowhere they needed to rush.
Did they talk the entire time?
No, and that was important. Daniel had always believed silence needed to be filled. But sitting beside his father, the silence felt comfortable rather than empty. His father suddenly pointed toward an old wooden bench. He said, "Your mother and I used to sit there." Daniel's mother had died several years earlier. Daniel rarely spoke about her because the memory was painful. They walked to the bench and sat down. For a few minutes, neither of them said anything. Then his father said, "Your mother worried that you would spend your whole life preparing to live." Daniel looked down at his hands. He remembered how she used to call and ask whether he had eaten. He often ended those calls quickly because he was busy. Now, he would have given anything to hear her voice once more.
That must have been the emotional turning point.
Yes. Daniel realized that productivity had given him many achievements, but it had also taken moments he could never recover. His father wasn't asking him to abandon his career. He was asking him not to abandon his life.
What happened after that?
Daniel and his father returned home and prepared dinner together.
The meal wasn't perfect. They burned part of the bread and added too much salt to the soup. But they laughed more during that simple dinner than Daniel had laughed in months. To describe it, Daniel could say, "We had a quiet evening at home," or "We spent some quality time together."
What does quality time mean?
It means time spent giving someone your full attention and enjoying meaningful moments together.
Later, Daniel borrowed his father's phone and called Anna. She asked, "Did something happen? You haven't answered any messages all day." Daniel looked at his father and smiled. He said, "Yes, something happened. I finally had a peaceful day."
Later, Daniel borrowed his father's phone and called Anna. She asked, "Did something happen? You haven't answered any messages all day." Daniel looked at his father and smiled. He said, "Yes, something happened. I finally had a peaceful day."
That's beautiful.
That evening, he sat outside and watched the sky change from gold to deep blue. His work problems still existed. His inbox would still be full the next morning. But Daniel no longer felt that every problem needed to enter every moment of his life. He finally understood another useful expression: clear your mind. It means relaxing and allowing stressful thoughts to become quieter.
Did one peaceful day completely change him?
Not immediately. Real change usually takes practice. But Daniel created a few boundaries. He stopped checking work messages during meals. He kept Sunday afternoons free for his family. Once every month, he visited his father and left his phone inside his bag.
So he didn't escape his responsibilities. He created balance.
Exactly. A peaceful life doesn't require living beside the ocean or avoiding all work. It means creating moments when your attention belongs to the people and experiences in front of you.
Let's review today's useful expressions.
Switch off means to stop thinking about work or stress and allow yourself to relax.
Take it easy means to relax and avoid unnecessary pressure.
Quality time means meaningful time when you give someone your full attention.
And clear your mind means allowing stressful thoughts to become quieter.
Now think about your own life. When was the last time you spent 1 hour without checking a screen? When was the last time you listened to someone you love without thinking about your next task? A peaceful day doesn't need to be expensive or perfect. It may begin with a quiet breakfast, a slow walk, an honest conversation, or a phone that finally stops ringing. Your responsibilities are important, but the people you love are not interruptions to your life. They are part of the reason your life matters.
Don't become so busy preparing for tomorrow that you miss the people waiting for you today.
If this episode helped you, subscribe to English Podcast with Larry and Mark for more meaningful stories and natural English practice.
And tell us in the comments, what does your perfect peaceful day look like?
With a soft closing tone. Keep listening, keep speaking, and give yourself permission to slow down.
Goodbye.